First item on the agenda this morning is the Riverview Center, the proclamation of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Come on up.
Oh, yeah. Just hang out up here. Okay.
Yep.
I'm Mindy, Liz, I'm the therapist with Riverview Center here. I know I talked to you guys in December about the Supervisors funding, which was very generous, and we're very grateful. So every April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, so we ask each of our towns declare the proclamation, and we pass that through your hands and make it official for the county, so I'm asking that you do that. And I was told that it was sent on ahead of time. I'm not sure. Okay,
What was your question again?
I was told it was sent on ahead of time.
The proclamation is right here.
Yes, okay. I'm like, I hope you guys can look at it.
No, we have.
Yeah.
And I can read it if you want me to read it. But
Well, please do.
Yeah.
We have time.
it's,
Just want
yeah.
to turn it a little bit to the side, then the camera can pick you up.
The camera's behind you.
Okay.
That's fine.
Proclamation, whereas sexual assault affects women, children, and men of all racial, cultural, and economic backgrounds. And whereas in addition to the immediate physical and emotional cost, sexual assault may also have associated consequences of post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse, depression, homelessness, eating disorder, and suicide. And whereas sexual assault can be devastating not only to the survivor, but also for family, friends, and the community of the survivor. And whereas since no one person, organization, agency, or community can eliminate sexual assault on their own, we must work together to educate our entire population about what can be done to prevent sexual assault, support of survivors and their significant others, and support of those agencies providing services to survivors. Now therefore, we the Board of Supervisors in and for Winneshiek County, on behalf of all staff and citizens of Winneshiek County, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. In Winneshiek County, Iowa, we encourage all citizens to learn more about preventing sexual violence. And then there's the witnessing signatures.
I move to approve April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to proclaim April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
I have one question for you.
Yeah, I can answer any question.
Has the Riverview Center or in partnership with anyone else ever considered bringing the Iowa human trafficking video presentation here for more awareness, and that it's not exactly on topic with which you're presenting?
It's a great question. We do get that question and we answer it. It's kind of twofold. So are you familiar with Cedar Valley Friends of the Family? They do like the shelter for people that like domestic violence, sexual assault. They're housed in Waverly, but they cover the same 14 counties we do. So they had a grant to cover human trafficking and going to the communities. But then they lost, like that ended and they weren't able to renew it. So then there was this opening of who does this then. And so Riverview is picking that up, but if we haven't been to everywhere, right? Because we have 14 counties, but we have a person who is rural focused that focuses on trafficking. And the rural piece is really important because a lot of people, they just assume it doesn't happen here.
If people have seen the video on Iowa specific, there's a lady out of the northwest part of the state that put it on out in Waukon. It was last year, maybe the year before, and it was very impacting. It's not urban. It's every town. It's almost, you could say it's every town.
And they don't think of it the way that it actually exists. Lots of teens that are trafficked are still living at home.
Yeah.
Right, it's under coercion and threats to younger children in the home, and they're still going to school and sleeping at home and being trafficked. So the definition is much larger than, the kidnapper van that people think about, or much larger definition, and that's what they think doesn't happen here, right? Like they say, well, I would know if my kid was living that life, but quite honestly, they wouldn't.
No, I'm hoping that if we see more exposure on it, because it really is a serious problem.
I'll bring that back about the idea of what was presented by that person. Because we have picked up that topic.
Yeah, if you don't, I think I even, on my desk, I think I have her contact information.
Oh, that would be
You can
good.
reach out to me and
Yes.
I can see if I can find that.
And how should I reach out to you?
Just grab my email off the website, shoot me an email and I'll find the info and get it right back to you.
Steve Kelsey.
Thank you. Thank you. I just didn't know your name, so I'm like, oh,
I'm Steve Kelsey.
that's my.
And we don't have
Wait.
placards
Oh,
out here
yeah.
today.
No nameplates. I don't spend enough time with the board, but I will reach out to you and get that.
That would be great.
I think it would be.
It is. People don't realize, and that's an Iowa specific documentary.
Well, and actually Iowa West is a central hub for trafficking because the interstates for
35
all sides of the country.
35 and 80.
Yep, and so people also don't pay attention to that we actually are central for trafficking as well as illicit substances being transitioned, so.
That would be marvelous.
I'm always the voice of happiness, like I tell you all these bad things when I see you, so.
Well, thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Wendy.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple of minutes.
We have a couple consent items.
Okay.
One is board minutes and the other is the monthly report of the Winneshiek County Recorder.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I've got, there's a Historic Preservation Commission meeting this Saturday at 8:30, but it will not be here in the annex. It will be at Beely Clocks in Spillville. So that's going to be kind of unique, but it's going to be fitting up. It's an interesting thing when you ask people if they have seen the Beely Clocks, and many will say, "Well, yeah, I think when I was going to school, I went there."
Yeah.
Is that at 9:30 or
It'll be at 8:30.
8:30? It'd be the clock.
Well, I've lived here my whole life, Steve, and I'm guilty of it.
Oh,
my God. It's probably one of my
I think
favorite.
we went on a
places I've ever been.
bus trip in school, I think.
Yeah, it's really quite a unique, it's very unique display. It's something that could be, but it has to be kept because of the Beely brothers. It has to be kept in Spillville. It could be an actual, it would qualify as something that would be unique for the Smithsonian.
The clocks could never leave.
Yeah, and they're still working.
Yeah.
Well, next item on the agenda, Michael Kueny, our county engineer. And I don't know where you want to start here, but it's up to you.
I guess we should start off with the biggest order of business today, and today was the day where bids were due for rock resurfacing. We received one bidder, and Burning Rock Products and David Recker. And you'd like to speak to the board directly, or?
No, I'm good.
Yes, one bidder, just a couple of things. This is in line with expectations. So I recommend the approval of this bid. This 1599 to 1645 is kind of what I was.
Anticipate.
We have the number of tons from last year compared to this, because this year we have 121,573.1.
Yeah, and don't have that number.
It was under,
I can tell you that when we're not talking about the perennial roads where we're kind of rock every year, we were at, if I remember right, we were at 6,900 and now we're 8,900 per blade district.
Okay.
So that's,
yeah, greatly decreased.
so
Yeah.
large increase in rock. I'm trying to, I was pretty skimpy with the rock earlier, trying to get the budget kind of in a position where I felt good about the budget. We're getting there, and I know that we're low on rock on the roads, so I want to get rock on the roads.
And for the public's knowledge, that is 348.740 miles of gravel road.
Just short of half the miles we got.
And the price of the rock is $1,953,010.12.
Yeah, there was, speaking of brewing, we had one issue on computational error, amounts to 6 tenths of a ton, so we're not worried about that, but I can get with you after.
Yeah.
And outline that, but I think this is really representative of how overages and spot rock as well this year, so.
I motion to approve the bid for contract rock.
Second.
We have a motion and second to accept the contract bid for rock. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I have one question for Bruni. The new activity down there in the quarries by the fish hatchery. My assumption, which is a very dangerous thing, would be that's for Highway 9.
For the school again.
Yeah.
As far as I know. And by, they don't. do it.
I hope for the sake of our roads that that doesn't cause some significant impact.
Well, to that end, we do have Trout Run Road on CFYP. Perhaps next year. We're looking at $650,000 project. Not sure if that will in fact come to fruit on that, so there's no guarantees, but that is roughly outlined to do, kind of looking to see if the second part of Highway 9 project, I'm gonna wait until after that to get that in, so
Is that an overlay or?
this is 3-inch overlays we've got penciled in right now, so.
Yep.
Thanks, Jen. I guess next order of business, I went to the Fort Atkinson City Council meeting on Wednesday of last week. I have a 28E that has been signed. All indications to me were they were going to take the 5-year no interest option that we offered, same as Spillville. So just try to report on that. That was not in here. Just kind of put that in everybody's mind before I get started. Build grant. Nothing is new this week. Bridge inspector was here on Monday and Tuesday this past week. There was nothing immediately needed to be attended to. I have not met with the bridge inspector on their findings. I anticipate there will be a conversation this week on that. Railroad flat car bridge study, nothing new this week. Subdivision, nothing new this week. Equipment operator 2 position was open to the public until March 27th. We did one interview, and I do recommend hiring Cordell Schmelzer. He's a young man who's got excellent references. He's going to be learning on the scoop though, so please be patient with him that way. An excellent work ethic, that's what we want.
I move to approve. No, the hire. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the hire of Courthouse Schmelzer. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Quarry Hill, there is nothing new to report this week. 2027 CFYP has been submitted to the DOT. There's a couple of clerical cleanups that I need to do on that. Getting the maps to work right is the most common one. And the 2027 budget has been approved. I have a copy of that here. So that, I would recommend approval of that budget. Is something I've shared with Ben. It is right here if you'd like.
A little less than last year, huh?
You're talking about the auditor's balance?
Yeah.
Yeah, the auditor's balance, I have it going down, but that includes some construction that I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. It's just similar to this year. Construction did not happen. Our balance is gonna end up being, if I'm gonna try to be precise this year, it'll end up being about $2.2 million. The target on that says 1.8. So, and anything that we don't do in construction, we're looking at doing in maintenance. That's kind of been the change.
Okay.
And to that point, I have a 2026 Amendment 2 ready to go. I've worked with Ben on that. Probably want to execute that towards the end of the month, very beginning, first week of May. The idea there being, so for the county, I have all the stipulations that I need to meet requirements, and I have enough fluff for a FEMA event. What would happen though is if I had to report to the DOT, I have certain categories that I can only be 10% over. FEMA event happens and I blow that out of the water. So I'm basically saying, trying to get ourselves ready to go in case a FEMA event were to happen. In that regard. So that will be in the works towards the end of the month, beginning of May. But
Does anyone want to take action on that budget?
Move to approve the budget.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the 27 DOT budget. Any further discussion? None, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
We filled all of our positions for the summer tech help. We are still mulling a hire for a roadside mower. That came to light this week as one of our almost annual roadside mowers is having health issues that will prevent them from passing a DOT physical. So I think we have a couple of candidates that we'd like to talk to. So we'll be doing that this week. Bridge 307, I did not make it out there this week, but demolition was occurring. I think the bridge is down. If the office chatter is correct, that bridge is down and they're working that right now.
307 is.
It's south of Ridgeway, 220th, I think. So
How far is that detour around? Is that pretty fairly?
it was a closed road before, so there is.
Okay, yeah, it's closed.
So the detour is non-existent, if you will. So.
This will be open.
Yeah, and one of the reasons for doing this bridge is some of the other bridges that act as the detour are
Not
in rough shape.
Yeah.
So this will alleviate that. Engineers working with the IT department on making all survey equipment in Windows 11 compliant. This is required for security reasons. So what we're talking about is our data collectors. We were having tech trouble with one of them, and the IT department started looking at what we had, noticed that everything had to use Windows 10 to make it operational. That is a security problem. So the IT department has volunteered the roads department to purchase necessary equipment to be Windows 11 compliant. It's basically a lot of tablets, a couple of new heads that work with those tablets. And that's what that is about. That negotiation was happening in the week before and throughout this week. Then I want to thank Mark Vick here, worked with ICAP to change equipment insurance to be cash value insurance instead of the replacement cost insurance. Generally, the newer blades and the excavators remain on the replacement cost insurance. This should lower insurance bill substantially to the county. Kind of working with Mark, just wanted to make sure that the mission critical pieces of equipment, the excavator and some of the new blades had better coverage because those are higher dollar items that would be hard to switch things out.
That was like 5 years of newer on actual costs. Replacement costs and starting to depreciate them after that, so.
We still mowing on that 59.
No, well, we got them off finally.
Those were taken off. That's not in this report, but that was a decision that we got done. I think I copied the board on the email where I sent out the schedule to the crew. So 410 start Monday. And then Locust Shop has an opening. Engineer and superintendent are working to optimize the personnel around this vacancy. That's the end of the report. I do have a print of the maintenance schedule with me. So if anyone would like to see that, or it needs to go into the minutes for some reason, I can get that Tony, but that is the engineer's report. Any questions?
Now that the FY27 DOT budget is completed, is this the official copy for signature purposes, or do you have a different one?
That is the copy for signature purposes. The typical one that we sign is for the county is a different one, but that's the one that gets submitted to the DOT. I can work with them.
I'll get you on there, and I'll get Dan on there.
Okay.
That way, then it'll be Ben when he comes back tomorrow. You can get a signature on there and. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we got our ballards put in, Tony.
Yes, that came out really well. Jesse Delaney of Skyline called me this morning, so they'll be coming by sometime to put the sleeves on, but they're in place. They're I think they worked out there for snow removal, for personnel access around. I think they'll work out good. Price wise, it worked out good. So if we feel that we should add some more in the future, we certainly have a line with Skyline that we can get more in. It was a quick process, minimal disruption. Fortunately, it happened when the courthouse was closed, but I still think that even if we were to do several at one time, it would still be minimal disruption of flow of people coming to the courthouse. So, but people like them, and what they will offset for what we could incur with damage for a minimal price for installation. I think it pays for itself.
Do you want me to try them out?
There you go.
Please don't, Mike.
Yeah, let them set a while first. Get them set up.
Get some strength in it.
Do you have anything else for us, Liz?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Chad.
Yeah.
You're most great, Pat, I guess.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other committee reports?
Hawk meeting on Wednesday.
We got a health board on Wednesday and I've had a few of the workers contacted me with concerns and I'd just like to see if it was a consensus of this board, if the Board of Supervisors and the Board of Health could meet. Maybe they were wondering if they could just visit the Board of Health and the Board of Supervisors, give them their.
Is there a timeline or?
No, it ain't no timeline, but I got a meeting Wednesday, so I'm gonna check with HR to make sure. We can't do something like that.
Have
Yeah.
the two representatives, so we don't have to.
No, they want full board,
Full board, both.
full board, full board.
Public
both.
meeting.
So it'll be a possible closed session or public meeting, whatever. But I just wanted to get the consensus of this board if they were.
I think we're good.
Think, good idea.
Okay,
I'm
that's-
fine with it.
I wanted to get the consensus here and then go to the Board of Health Wednesday.
I honestly think that's probably long overdue.
I was gonna say it.
I mean, I've been-
Asking for it. for a
We've
while.
had letters, umpteen letters, and we've had people call me and Dan, and you've been getting brought to most of it. It's about time to address the issues.
We have personnel
Been cut long.
complaints and a lot of other things in between. In Northeast Iowa Workforce Development Board meeting on last Thursday, and that's proceeding in the investigating stage of combining with the central district, which is down around, it goes all the way actually down to Iowa City. 6 counties in the center right there. It's I'm a little bit hesitant. We'll see what happens because, you know, we're in our region up here, we're pretty similar. We have 20 counties up here in the northeast corner. Mason City all the way down to about 3 counties deep. But these 6 have almost the same population that we have in our 20. So whether or not it's going to be beneficial to our group up here, other than possible savings of some administrative costs, it may not, it may deteriorate our service delivery on the Iowa Works and things of that nature. So we'll, to be determined yet, it's not far enough along to really get into the weeds on it.
Then you got a 911 board, we're gonna start having meetings on 911 and Sheriff's Department, starting this periodic meetings just to discuss things, see how it's going. So that one's Wednesday at 11, 12:30.
We did, architects from Martin Gardner were here going, and Steve and I went up on the roof. They were looking at the water issues up in the tower. Kids are gonna send in a sample of the, are you gonna do that or?
Bethany is gonna contact the shingle manufacturer. They are gonna send a kit that you place that piece of shingle in, you send it off to them, they do their analysis. That's forthcoming. I have the piece of shingle.
This is a piece of the shingle that is one, it's like a 3-tab,
Yes.
4-tab, and one whole tab is broken off and cracked through the middle, and the one next to it is cracked and with a crack back about an inch. And
Make that old.
no, and we're seeing horizontal cracks. Looks more like small fracture cracks through a significant portion of the rest of the roof, so we're concerned about that. But then we also went all the way up into the very underneath the copper dome on the top. We were, Mark and I and the architect were up there looking to see if we can determine where that water, when we had that driving rain last year, that was, I mean, we had so much water that we had buckets collecting it up on the level below. And water was dripping down the steel. So there's still a major problem. You don't see a lot of where the water may be coming from up there inside the copper dome because there's a skin of wood,
Wooden slats.
and then the copper sits on the top of that.
So unless it's rotted through, can't see.
You can't see.
Runs down that wood, yeah.
One spot up there had maybe 4 holes in it that almost looked like bullet holes. But I
I'd say
think so.
So they have to be. There's 4.
Boom, boom, boom.
Row outside of your finger.
So, no. I drive by for the top of the courthouse.
Yeah.
I think one of the suggestions was Steve or Mark, one of you two, that about a rubber membrane on the level they're talking about is up where the bell is. There are certain openings that have hatch covers over there, just have a wood cover. And I think this was for at one time when there was ventilation where it drew in through there, and that these were covered up, that to remove those and then put a rubber membrane at that level and to see if that will preclude some of that, whether it be wind driven or some that may be coming in from the, what you see in the upper portion, you go up into the actual dome section.
Yeah, there's actually
2 levels.
If you look at the louver, you can see louvers here from the outside that were replaced during that last restoration and screening on the inside to keep the bats out of there. But we're also, it's suspect that we also may get driving rain through those. So we need, by putting down that membrane, and then we can direct it to the outside before it starts coming down further inside. That may be a good answer. But Mark had an idea. We've taken, use some sheet metal to block up. The louvers are about 4 inches deep. And if we take the inside section of them and put a part way up, maybe a couple of feet, a piece of sheet metal, and then let it come out on an angle and put some sides on it. So if we have driving rain, we still get ventilation, but if we get driving rain, it's going to be traffic down and then outside onto the outside area. So we wouldn't have that water intrusion. So those may be, the architect was going to look further at that and see if that would be, a possibility of still getting good ventilation, but yet stopping what could be a potential problem. We really can't. You got to be up there with the right conditions with driving rain or whichever, and it's hard to predict.
The membrane on the area we're talking about is so big, so.
It's got big cracks and
both of these are low cost, high impact. That would possibly preclude that where the water comes in and where the water ends up are 2 different places. But this will help with that measurement.
All right, next up on the agenda under miscellaneous items, discuss courthouse office uses.
I think everybody saw Tim Smock's email. And that does close, I think, one option for where we might accommodate the attorney offices that we will need to provide. For the public's sake, we have a 2-level vault for both, in all 4 of the offices upstairs have a 2-story vault. Treasurer, the recorder, clerk of court, and the auditor's office all have 2-story vaults. The auditor's office relinquished a portion of theirs on the lower level to the assessor's office. And the recorder, they had digitized what they did there, and actually before, surrendered their lower portion. That became the drafting room and so forth for the room. The clerk of court, that vault is full, and they have no intention of doing anything else with those. Tim Smock and I had discussion, but there is license plate storage and motor vehicle records that are down there that are accessed a couple of times per month. And it gives security that people are not taking the records out. But the cost of digitizing those records down there could be between $500,000 and $700,000. So that.
And that's the public access, isn't it?
Yes, the public access to those records. So it's a that would be dead on arrival in my mind, to spend that kind of money. So I only see two possibilities of future of where we may have options to explore with it in the courthouse, and both have pros and cons. Every office that's in the courthouse, of course, no one wants to move, and that's understood. Many of them work with one another, with different departments, depending upon their customers and our citizen base. But the one option is we could possibly reduce the size of the recorder's office, combine it with the IT space. We'd have to do some further architectural work on it to see if it's really feasible. We could rediscuss that next week. Option number two that I see would be taking the assessor's office and moving it off campus over to the CSB building. That won't be really attractive to them because there's still an interaction between the treasurer's office, between the recorder's office and the auditor's office. How often would that occur, Tony?
That occurs several times a day, but some of that, of course, a lot of it can be done electronically.
Okay.
But there is the conferring with,
Mhm.
if there's a problem.
And that can be done electronically to a degree. It's gonna be no matter what we do, it's gonna be an inconvenience for someone. But it's been discussed trying to use the old jail option. The old jail option is, again, way too expensive to bring upgrades into that and make it a feasible space to be used with public access. Moving the assessor's office off campus here to the CSB building would give three options. We have three tenants over there that we would have to make some lease modifications with them. One option might perhaps be if the DHS would relinquish the space on this end that would be a suitable space and large enough for the assessor's office there. And then replace that with the space they need by using the center core, which would then mean that the Spectrum people would need office space, would moving on the other side of that wall where they do have a significant amount of space. That would be one option. The other option would be to take where Toys Go Around are, and it would mean a larger building program of putting in office space and so forth, because they only actually occupy one small office. And there's two adjacent offices that Spectrum uses, plus a small conference room. You could take those spaces and combine them with some modifications and put the assessor in there as an option. But that would mean either ending the lease with Toys Go Around because of that need, or trying to accommodate them somehow with a combination of how to reconfigure the Spectrum space according to meet all the needs. None of them are real easy, but probably the most realistic is the relocation of the assessor's office over to the community service building. The space that is vacant between the treasurer and the auditor's office, if you look back to Ben's discussion earlier, that's used when he's got to do absentee ballot counting, preparing computers for elections and so forth. It doesn't get a lot of use, but it wouldn't be something large enough to accommodate at the most maybe two people. So that's really not feasible. So I would suggest that probably the four offices of the assessors, maybe even taking a little bit of that space that's narrow going down to the window.
Yes.
Cutting that off and
That would be an easy add to that.
That would be an easy add. And we're not looking at much for any in-courthouse expense on modifications. The major expense then would be determining what space could be used over there, how we can move it around. But we have between now and January 1 to house the attorney's office, which has been off campus until this point, and it will now be a necessity to provide space on campus. And that is not feasible to move the county attorney to the CSB.
The good news is that we'll be saving over $2,000 a month that we're paying that right now for the county attorneys to be with
That and the
that.
telephone too.
Plus the telephone, I mean, it's like $3,000 a
It
month.
grows probably $3,000 a month.
So that would pay for modifications. The other
Yeah,
issue over at CSB is that community break room that really is not used by a whole lot of anybody because everyone seems to have their own break room.
but for
Does use one.
people's benefit, there's 3 or 4 managers that are there in the community service building on a regular basis. The rest of their staff is there periodically. It might be every 2 weeks, but they all have desk spaces. So it's very little use to a lot of space that they occupy. But still, we're required to provide that space to the DHS by the state. And it was agreed upon for the region that it controls that it would be here in Decorah. So that's kind of the summary.
They've been using been a lot more cars there lately.
There has been in the last couple of weeks.
Months, yeah.
I think my recommendation would be if we meet with the tenants down there, figure out what is your need if we have to reconfigure, and then hire an architect to help redesign. Because there's also, what, 6 furnaces in that building? I mean, that now would be the time to change some of that HVAC in there so we can cut our expenses that way too.
You ain't gonna cut any of that out. That's all you know.
I mean, the cost of doing that right now would really push our budget over the top on anything we be done there.
Huge if you're gonna start doing
But
that.
we can't, and I would not go out and hire Martin Gardner or whatever to do this, because it's not, we could get either some, actually, what was done within our own IT department was a good preliminary to determine what needs to be done. And then we could hire someone to prepare the necessary building plan to get permits.
First, I think we have to speak with HHS to make sure they are willing to give up that front office space
That ain't gonna happen.
for that central office. I think it might, because the
Might.
square footage would be pretty close.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, that's true.
That would be the first.
Because that was our first go around looking one way.
Yeah, and I
Work
think
on it.
that would actually be the best solution. Then we don't have to, always go around as a benefit to, a community, and I don't want to, if we can avoid it,
If we can avoid it.
but nevertheless, we have to, the county attorney needs to be in the courthouse. But previously, for the public's benefit, the county attorney's been across the street in Anderson Law. And because the county attorney was a part-time attorney, he was doing a private practice and could be a partner in that law firm and occupy that space. Because of the increase in prosecution needs, and Andy and his retirement suggested that the board move from a part-time county attorney to a full-time. That means that we have to, that attorney cannot practice publicly or privately. He can only practice for the county. So he needs to be housed in our space. We don't own any buildings that are immediately adjacent, but they have to be able to have quick response if they're in the middle of a trial, they need documents, so they have to bring another person in. So it's, I tried in many ways to try to see if I could talk Andy out of that, but it's, logic doesn't really make sense in that case. We've got to have him here because our docket continues to get more complex and a court docket, and it's just something that we have to move in that direction.
I think moving the assessors out will probably be the easiest. You're just disrupting one department.
Yep.
Instead of
3.
And in cost terms, there's a little bit that you need to do to kind of divide it out, but for the most part, you have offices available for the attorney, assistant attorney, HR person, if that's the case, paralegals. And what I would suggest is that in that outer hallway as you come in, just place a door there that's accessible with a ring cam, so you have controlled admittance of people into the office, just from a security standpoint.
Yeah, we've got, in the assessor space, it would be wise at the same time if we move them out of their courses, recarpet, repaint, modification to that one office that is occupying a portion of the lower vault. And that's pretty minor with respect to that space. Then the other comes down to what can we negotiate over off campus in that other building. But it'll have some modest, hopefully, cost. But Mark, I understand your concern over the HVAC system and what we have up there, but my concern would be that having the budget, we could
Well, I
push that off a year. or
I
two.
think if we're gonna do anything, you need to look long-term and say, okay, down the road, are we doing this so we can change this
Yeah, yeah.
when the time comes?
I
Not
don't
just start
think
putting
we'll
up
be-
walls.
I don't think we'll be changing any of the, in any of those spaces, most probably, I wouldn't see a lot of HVAC changes. Probably the most would be if we have to build new office space in, what would be a portion of the toys go around space. I wouldn't see a lot because of the open design and so forth in the EHS space or that center core. Those are,
But you still have all the overhead in there, so it's pretty easy to plumb down
Because
into
when we did
office
the-
space.
Because when we did that, cut that other office out of there, the HVAC wasn't right and we didn't have the sprinklers down. We need to look more broadly when you're doing this. I don't care who does it, but you need to look at the long-term picture.
yeah, we've got, we had things that were non-code compliant from the time that was originally built until today. But when we dropped in some T-bar ceilings, you need to bring fire sprinklers down. There's always other sides to any kind of construction or remodeling work that brings in other pieces that have to be brought up or added or new code requirements. But I still think that's would be our best bet from everything that I see. And I've looked at it now for 3 months.
Still got the recorder, I'm splitting that in half, there's plenty of room there.
I don't think we can get enough room out of that, Mark. We can do it, we can do architecture, I'll have Reggie cut that off and do, ask him at the IT department to run out a floor plan, because we've got the original floor plans of the building from, that were built, the actual blueprints. And we have those scanned into CAD accessible usage, and we could take a layout, what would be what could be combined out of that, of those two spaces and the modifications. But I know that then we have to get with our recorder to see how much possible change there is that can be done in her office. But we can put it back on the agenda for next week, and I'll see if Reggie is, if John and Reggie can put something together for us. In the meantime, who wants to have a conversation with HHS?
Try to get a hold of them again. With this, getting the people in charge up here to talk to them, this is the hard part.
Because you and Mark met with them the first time.
Yeah, we just met with them
Met
recently.
with them
So
and said things were good and all ready to,
back to the table.
so. You have nothing to worry about them in the back row. So, the way it sounds.
So I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
if I can make?
Yeah,
a
go
few
ahead.
comments? So we just had heard that there was a possibility of possibly moving our office. So we just wanted to share a few key points that we thought would be important. So if you're okay, I'll share some of the key points that we came up with.
You can, but you're gonna be staying where you are, Faith. There's not gonna be any need to move you because
But
of
no,
expense,
But
but
I just want, so
Yeah.
you guys, because there might be things that you maybe haven't taken into consideration.
go ahead. We have time.
just as an FYI, I met with Faith last week and brought up to her the possibility that nothing cast in stone, that this could possibly happen, and several of us have had some other conversations about it also.
I'm
If
on
I
it.
could, I would still
I'm on
like
it.
to share.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So I just wanted to point out.
You might
Come up here.
come up here, please.
That way you get on camera.
Isn't that what you want?
So yeah, so we, just wanted to point out, the majority of our clients do have service-connected disabilities. So with better accessibility near the front door, some of our clients use walkers, canes, and wheelchairs. We would also be close to the handicap bathroom for accessibility. Right next to our door, some clients may have some bladder medical conditions. And some of our appointments can run for 30 to 60 minutes, for each time, and sometimes longer. I had an appointment last week with somebody, it was 2.5 hours for just one visit. We'd also lose our waiting room, which is used on a regular basis. It makes for easy access and their comfort, so they don't need to access farther into the courthouse, being around other offices and people. Veterans may not feel comfortable on an elevator, because it was talked about maybe possibly moving up to second floor. And then also moving our office may discourage veterans from stopping or applying for benefits. And we'd also lose the storage space by the front door where we store our flag holders, flags for the flag holders themselves, our outreach materials, and then just extra file cabinet and storage space. So we just wanted to point out that these are important to us and we just want the support of our veterans.
And remember, there is no plumbing on the second floor for bathrooms and so forth.
Didn't know where the discussion would go, but we wanted to
Yeah.
share some key points that we thought were important.
My biggest point was you're right close to the door. They come in and out. They don't have to go. I mean, it's just accessible. They're in and out. They maybe don't like to be around people a lot or something.
Yeah.
And this here is just, that was my point. I brought up to Faith and was just,
Which is a very valid.
it's just,
And they're used to it.
just in and out and it's quiet and not a lot of traffic.
They come in, take care of the business, and when they leave,
That was my big take on, I mean, I don't know what everybody, but that just seems to be what you hear people talk about and stuff. That's one issue is when I come to the meetings is, yeah,
Like
people.
I've
like
said,
to be-
it's not because it's the most luxurious space in the courthouse. So,
so I just wanted to share just a few
Yeah,
points, so
no, we-
they take that. Hopefully they can find a better solution. I know it's probably not gonna be easy, but hopefully something can come up, but those would be the valid points where.
And I had a lengthy discussion with your board chair Saturday.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share those. Thank you for letting me share.
you betcha. Thanks, Faith. Okay, so we'll put that on the
Yeah,
agenda
next,
for next week.
next week's
Again, next week.
agenda.
And maybe a couple of you guys can help me out on this too, but this board gets credit for a lot more than we're actually in charge of.
You got those two.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's not just this. I mean, it's other Winneshiek County landfill. This board is not just in charge. Public health, we have one person sitting on it. Conservation, we have one person sitting on it. So these other boards make these decisions on their own. And what I'm referring to is the Winneshiek County Fair. And I'm not throwing them under the bus. They have a
Agricultural Association.
they have a small amount of money to work with. And try to do the best they can with it. And apparently a lot of people have a problem with one of the bands that is gonna perform this summer. I would advise them to go on their website, look at the band, listen to their music for an hour and a half, like I did last night. They are not a racist band.
They've been around since 1990.
we've got emails from, we're not, we give the fair board a little money and that's all we have to do is fair. That's the Winneshiek County Fair that's we do not dictate what they can and can't do. They're their own board and we give them money for 4-H and stuff like that for the kids.
And that board does a hell of a job.
They do. They got a limited, I mean, it gets tougher every year. It don't matter which county it is. The county fairs, they have a hard time.
Some of them
Surviving.
endless hours in during the fair.
Yeah. They do a lot
All
of,
volunteer.
I have not listened to the music, but I understand that the Confederate flag is on some of their posters and materials, and that is offensive to a lot of people. And in today's world, if you want to be, you got to be aware of what you're doing.
And that's what
So I understand why people are upset about it. And
that's why I encourage them to look on the
So
website,
if-
because I did and there.
people were
was no
going through
Confederate
town and
flag.
they saw an advertisement, and that's what they saw. They'd go like, wow, this is not the place I thought it was going to be, but.
Yeah. I actually went on and listened to I didn't actually listen to any of their music, but I went and read the lyrics. And I didn't find anything on there that was particularly offensive or,
Well, and the lyrics in the one song say, you should never judge a book by looking at its cover. And I think that's kind of fitting on this whole thing. Do the research, look into it before you form an opinion. That,
move to adjourn.
Second.
we have a motion and a second for adjournment. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Beat you on the adjournment. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, what is this? How'd you get tapped to do the meeting today? Tony?
It's good, it's white. Plenty of white.
Yeah, really. How's his daughter?
If you went on. What's that? Well, you know, maybe if like people send us emails. Oh, there's a big misconception.
You have taken back.
Today's world.
Yeah, no, and I don't. Well, like I said.
My wife had back to work years ago.
Okay.
That's what it
Like I said, it's the vote, it's just the vote.
Yeah.
Well, I said,
And they're old school.
remember Charlie Daniels.
So, right.
I think it was great South to do it again. Probably today, that wouldn't be the.
No, probably not. This song ain't you right.
It is not a,
The one down in Georgia.
it's not a, it's an option.
I haven't heard anything.
How many board members are there?
There's only two of us left, Fatima. You can quit recording.
Are you